Hello everyone. Now in this session, we are going to discuss about the pressure vessels and their safety aspects under the chemical and process safety management title. And this discussion is basically with reference to the SMPV rule, that is Static and Mobile Pressure Vessel Unfired Rules 1981. So with reference to this SMPV, we can understand what exactly the pressure vessels and the different parameters or the components. So the pressure vessel means any closed metal container of whatever shape intended for the storage and transport of any compressed gas which is subjected to the internal pressure and whose water capacity exceeds 1000 liters. So we have to use the 1000-liter capacity storage transport of any compressed gas, then includes interconnecting part and components thereof up to the first point of connections to the connected pipings and fittings, but does not include the container wherein steam or other vapor is intended to be generated, or water or other liquid is intended to be heated by the application of fire or the products of combustion by electrical means, heat exchanger, evaporator, air receiver, steam type digester, steam type sterilizer, autoclave, reactors, calorifiers, then pressure piping components such as separator or strainer, and vessels containing a liquid under a blanket of compressed inert gas. So this is a legal definitions of the pressure vessels. So from this definition, we can understand that this is a metal container and which is used for the storage and transport of any compressed gas or the liquefiable gas, and the capacity is beyond the 1000 liters, right? So whatever the parts which is connected to that storage and transport facility is under pressure vessel. So there are two types of pressure vessels. Basically, first is fired and second is unfired. So fired pressure vessel, which is used to hold gases or liquid at high pressure above 15 psig or more. So it is the main element. So if it is the pressure above 15 psig, then that pressure vessel is called as fired pressure vessel. And unfired means it is vessel which is used to hold air, water which is not exposed to fire or heat. So in this fire pressure vessel, the pressure is more than 15 psig, as well as it is directly or indirectly connected to the source of heat. But in the unfired pressure vessel, there is no source of heat or no fire. So if it is fire and pressure vessel, then it is fired pressure vessel. If there is no fire, but if it is pressure vessel, then it is unfired pressure vessel. The codes of practices governing this safety, which is related to the unfired pressure vessel, because now we are going to discuss only for the unfired pressure vessels, because these fired pressure vessels are basically the boilers, and we have already discussed about the boilers, their safety aspects, their mounting accessories, and IBR Act 1923 and IBR rules in different videos. So now we are going to focus only unfired pressure vessels. So the codes of practices for these unfired pressure vessels related to the safety is Section 31 of the Factory Act 1948 is the main reference. Then Rule 61 of the Gujarat Factory Rule 1963 and Section 1.2.1 of the Indian Standard Code for unfired pressure vessels, and IS 2825/1969 give the definition of this pressure. So these are the main codes which can be used for the detailed information about this unfired pressure vessel. So for detailing specially, generally the experts are using this IS 2825. The code has 3 sections covering the material and designing, fabrication and welding, inspection, marking, testing, and records. So you can go through these 3 sections, which is covered under the IS 2825 coding. What is the general exemptions for these unfired pressure vessels? So nothing in this rule shall apply to the vessels which form a part of processing plant. So for the purpose of this rule, vessels forming parts of the processing plant shall means vessels in which a unit operation is carried out. So unit operation, we know that physical separation, and unit process is chemical reactions. So if there is a operations or the process or the chemical reactions, then that is the, if it is occurred in the vessel, so that is not the part of that pressure vessel, right? So vessel means what exactly, that is given in detail. Then what are the restrictions on filling this and manufacturing these pressure vessels? So without the permission of the CCE, that is Chief Controller of the Explosive, or without referring the or following the standards or the codes which is given by the CCE, we can't manufacture, we can't fill these pressure vessels. Then same, it is related to the delivery and dispatch of this pressure vessel. So there is a provision for the holder of a storage license. So we have to apply for these storage license as well as for the delivery of that pressure vessel and that particular chemicals. So for the specified quantity, for the specified storage of that chemicals under the pressure vessel, we have to apply and we have to get the license, and then only we can go for the delivery and dispatch of these pressure vessels. Then for repairing of these pressure vessels, again, we have to take the approval from the CCE. So that may be for the repairing, that may be for the addition of some of the parts, that may be the alteration or modification in the pressure vessels. So whatever it may be, we have to take the approval of the CCE. And for after getting that approval, for repairing purpose, we have to empty that pressure vessels, and then we have to purge that pressure vessel with the inert gas to avoid the fire explosion, to avoid the accidents. Then if the CC is going to permit us, then we have to go for the repairing methods which is approved by the CC only. Again, after the repair procedure or the operations, we have to obtain the recommissioning process or the approval from the CC again, and then only we can start that pressure vessels. Then we have already discussed about this design code, that the main design code is IS 2825. Then design pressure is one of the main element, as the pressure vessel indirectly indicate that pressure is the important parameter. So for this design pressure, vessel shall not be less than the vapor pressure of the gas in the vessel with reference to 55 degrees Celsius. So at 55 degrees Celsius, whatever the vapor pressure of the gas is there, so that is the main pressure. So if that vessel is meant for that storage of liquefiable gas, or whether it is major or made for different purposes, but if it is insulated, if it is not insulated, what exactly the maximum temperature that likely to attain by that gas, or what exactly you are going to store in that pressure vessel, whether it is a permanent gas or a general gas, whatever it may be, the major temperature is the 55 degrees Celsius temperature. With reference to that, vapor pressure condition can be defined, and that can be used for the design pressure. Then filling capacity or that pressure. So the maximum quantity of liquefiable gas filled into that vessel shall be limited to the filling density of that gas. So each gas having the different filling densities, and that is why that particular limit can't be given as a statistical data or numerical one. But again, we have to refer that temperature, that is 55 degrees Celsius. If vessel is uninsulated, or to the highest temperature which the contents are likely to reach in service if the vessel is refrigerator or insulated. So depending on the purpose, depending on the temperature, depending on that liquefiable gas filling density, we have to calculate that filling capacity or the pressure. So no vessel shall be filled with the any permanent gas in excess of its design pressure. So design pressure is the upper limit or the maximum limit. Then what are the markings which are needed on the pressure vessels? So each and every pressure vessels is having a metal plate on which these particulars are given, like manufacturer's name and identification mark, then the standard or code to which the vessel is constructed. So standard may be a different word and code is normally IS code. Then official stamp of the inspector, design pressure in kg per centimeter square, date of initial hydrostatic test, subsequent test, then hydrostatic test pressure in kg per centimeter square, then water capacity in liters, gas capacity if filled with liquefiable gas, and name or chemical symbol of the gas for which the vessel is to be used. So all the details should be given on the pressure vessels. So that is called as markings on the pressure vessels. Then safety aspects related to these pressure vessels. So normally we are using these different pressure relief devices as a safety component in these pressure vessels. So for pump compressors, we are using pressure gauges. For fans, control valves, piping systems and tracings, we are using PRV, that is pressure reducing valve. For dump vessels, steam traps, we are using NRV, that is non-return valve. For the insulation, we are using pressure controllers or the regulators. For the vent for pressure relief, pressure recorders, we are using utilities like steam, water, air, thermic fluid, inert gas, etc. So these components are also included in the SFPV rule in the fitting sections. So under the fitting, the general guidelines are given, like we have already discussed about the design pressures and the temperature, that is 55 degrees Celsius reference. And then the general conditions like PRV connected to the vapor space, drain should be provided, contents gauge or maximum level indicator, means of measuring the temperature of the contents of the vessels. So we have to check the pressure, we have to check the temperature, and we have to check the level of that liquid or the liquefiable gases. So these are the general guidelines. And under the pressure relief component with reference to this SMPV, the guidelines are every vessel shall be provided with 2 or more pressure relieving devices. So with reference to this SMPV rule, at least 2 or more pressure relieving devices should be there, and that relief wall should be spring loaded. Wet loaded relief wall shall not be permitted. The relief wall be so designed that they can't be inadvertently loaded beyond the set pressures. So this spring loaded relief wall is shown in the diagram, where you can understand what are the parts of that spring loaded safety wall and the actual photograph of installation. Then safety valves on any vessel shall be set to start to discharge at a pressure not in excess of 110%. So if the design pressure is 10, then we can go maximum up to 10 into 1.1, that is 11. So we can't exceed this 110% criteria. Otherwise, there may be a chances of accident or explosion. So each safety valve shall be plainly and permanently marked with the pressure in kg per centimeter square at which it is set to discharge. There will be a provision of shut-off valve between it and the vessels. Then safety valve shall have direct communication with the vessels. Then for vessels of more than 4,500 liters water capacity, relief valve shall be fitted with the extended vent pipes. So extended vent pipe is another fitting in addition to the pressure relief valve, that is spring loaded safety valve, but that is with the condition that is if that capacity is 4,500 plus liters water capacity. So if it is the case, then there is outlet at least 2 meters above the top of the vessel and at least 3.5 meters above the ground level, fitted with loose fitting rain caps. So that is extended vent cap provisions or vent pipe provisions. And this relief valve should be inspected or tested by the competent person within a year. That is a necessary condition. Then there is another component related to these safety components in the pressure vessel, that is shut off and emergency shut valves, which is shown in this image. So all liquids and vapor connections on vessels, except those for relief valves, plug openings, and those where the connections is not greater than 1.4 mm opening, shall have shut off valves. So this is the basic conditions. So all liquid and vapor connections on vessels, except those for relief valves and drainage connections of small diameter, shall have emergency shut off valve, such as excess flow valve, automatically operated valve, or remotely controlled valve. So these are the different examples of emergency shut off valves. So on the basis of the conditions, we can go for the installation of one of the emergency shut off valves. Then other components under this fitting is liquid level gauging device. So we all know about this liquid level indicator. Indirectly we have to use, because there may be again chances of excess heating or low heating criteria. That is why we have to use this liquid level gauging device. Then this is the pressure vessel, and that is why we have to measure the pressure on a continuous basis. And for that purpose, this pressure gauge is mounted on this pressure vessel. Then for this pressure vessel, there is a condition that is called as periodic testing. So all the vessels should be hydraulically tested by the competent person within 5 years. That is the basic condition. But if the corrosive or toxic gases are included in that vessel, then we have to do this periodic testing by the competent person within 2 years. So that is the 5 years and 2 years is the periodic testing criteria. So there may be different periodic testing methods are available. So we can discuss it later on. And then after testing that pressure vessel, the competent person is going to give the certificate of test. Then there is another criteria that is called as storage. So for storage of this compressed gas or liquefiable gas, compressed gas shall be installed entirely above the ground, not be installed one above the another, and longitudinal axes are parallel to each other, and no vessel shall be located within the bounded area of the petroleum. So these are the different and specific conditions of the storage criteria. So sufficient space should be provided between the two vessels if more than one vessels are there in that same premises. So that provision or the distance should be for firefighting operations. So 2 or more vessels installed in batteries shall be so installed that the top surfaces of the vessels are on the same plane. Then storage of liquefiable petroleum gas, that is LPG, can be placed underground or covered by the earth. in such manner and subject to such conditions as may be specified in the notification by the central government. So we have to take care about the LPG storage. Then what exactly the location of these pressure vessels, what exactly the distances of these pressure vessels, if it is in the battery conditions or if it is the more than one pressure vessels in the same premises. So there are two tables which gives us the idea, that is minimum safety distances for flammable, corrosive and toxic gases, and another table is for the non-toxic gases. So this table gives you the idea that the water capacity of the vessel in liter, if it is not above 2000, that is less than 2000, then the minimum distance from building, group of building or lines of adjoining property is 5 meter, and minimum distance between the pressure vessel is 1 meter. So likewise, for the capacity more than 2000, less than 10,000, the minimum distance criteria is 10 meter and minimum distance between pressure vessel is 1. Then for about 10,000 but less than 20,000, the minimum distance is 15 and 1.5 between the pressure vessel. More than 20,000 but less than 40,000, it is 20 meters and 2 meters between the pressure vessels. Above 40,000, it is 30 meters and between the pressure vessel is 2 meters. So this is the safety distances for flammable, corrosive and toxic gases. So for non-toxic gases, obviously it is lesser than the toxic gases. So you can compare this table also. So not above 2000, it is a 5 meter distance, and here it is a 3 meter. So likewise, you can compare that. So for these non-toxic gases, these 3 and 1, 5 and 1.5, then 10 and 2, and about 20,000, this is 15, and minimum distance is depend on the diameter of larger vessel. Then there is a provision should be there for fencing. So wherever these pressure vessels or the storage tanks are there, then at least 2 meter high fencing should be provided for that purpose. And every fence shall have at least 2 means of exit, and the gates of such exit shall open outwards, because in the emergency case, in the emergency situations, the natural phenomena or the natural way of our thinking is we have to push or rather than the pull. So that opening of these exits outwards is the essential condition. So that at least 2 gates should be there. Then earthing provision should be there. That is another safety components. So all vessels used for the storage of flammable liquefiable gases shall be electrically connected with the earth in an efficient manner. And especially the special provision should be there for the flammable liquids. So earthing is an essential characteristics for these pressure vessels. Then fire protections. So we all know that the hydrant systems or hoses or pipe systems, mobile equipments, then fixed monitors, etc., or some fixed spray or automatic sprinkling system, automatic spraying systems. There are variety of systems which are available for the firefighting that should be provided for this pressure vessel in case of fire. Then electrical apparatus and installations. So no electrical wire shall be passed over any storage vessels. For pumps rooms used for pumping flammable compressed gases, all electrical meters, distribution boards, switches, fuses, plugs and sockets shall be flame-proof constructions. So flame-proof construction is an essential characteristics for these electrical apparatus and installation. So this is all about the pressure vessels, their different parameters related to the safety aspects. So there are some other provisions which is related to the pressure vessels. So we will discuss in the next presentation. Thank you.